The massive ships appeared without warning. One day, the skies were clear. The next, giant vessels hung over New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, and 30 other major cities across Earth. They blocked the sun like metal clouds, casting long shadows over the scared people below. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill, Jack Monroe heard through his Navy headset. As a commander in the United States Navy, Jack had trained for many threats, but never aliens. He looked up at the ship above Washington, D.C., and felt his mouth go dry. The world waited 3 days before the aliens spoke. When they did, they called themselves the Valiant Empire, rulers of 300 star systems. Their message played on every TV, radio, and phone on Earth. People of Earth, we come in peace and friendship. We wish to share our knowledge with your developing world. Most people believed them. Jack didn't. He saw how their ships always stayed above military bases and government buildings. He noticed the weapons on those ships, even if others called them scientific equipment. Dr. Lisa Wright didn't notice the weapons. As one of America's top scientists who studied possible alien life, she was too excited by the chance to meet real aliens. The president picked her to join the first meeting with the Valians in Geneva, Switzerland. "This is the greatest day in human history," she told Jack when they met at the airport. The military had sent Jack to protect the American science team. "Maybe," Jack said, "or maybe it's the worst. Why would they cross light years just to help us?" Lisa shook her head. "Not everyone thinks like a soldier, Commander. The universe might be full of species who share and help each other." The meeting in Geneva lasted 1 week. The Valians looked almost human, except for their pale blue skin and large dark eyes. They showed amazing technology, cures for cancer, engines that could reach other stars, machines that could clean Earth's air and water. World leaders were so impressed that they barely read the treaty the Valians offered. The Galactic Cooperation Treaty promised technological exchange, medical advancement, and peaceful relations. 65 nations signed within days. "Don't do this," Jack told the president at a private meeting. "Their ships are warships. I studied their movements. They're taking up tactical positions." "Commander Monroe, your concerns are noted," the president said, "but the benefits are too great to pass up. Think of what this means for humanity. No more disease, no more energy problems, a chance to reach the stars." Jack tried again. "Sir, in the entire treaty, we give them rights to our resources, but they never say exactly what technology they'll share. It's all vague promises." The president had already made up his mind. The United States signed the treaty 2 days later. Lisa worked closely with the Valian science team. They seemed interested in human biology, especially the differences between people. "Your genetic diversity is remarkable," said Call, the lead Valian scientist. "Most species we encounter are much more uniform." "That's one of our strengths," Lisa said proudly. "Diversity helped us survive and adapt through our evolution." "Yes," Call said, looking at her strangely. "Very useful indeed." 6 weeks after the ships arrived, Jack noticed more Valian vessels entering Earth orbit. These were smaller, faster ships. Military ships. He sent urgent messages to his superiors. But everyone was celebrating the new era of galactic friendship. 1 month after the treaty signing, Jack woke to air raid sirens. He ran to his window and saw Valian ships firing energy weapons at military bases. His phone rang. It was Lisa. "Jack, they've taken over the research facility. They're not who they said they were." "Get somewhere safe," Jack told her. "This isn't first contact. It's an invasion." The Valian Empire had come to Earth not as friends, but as conquerors, and humanity had welcomed them with open arms. 6 months after signing the treaty, the world changed forever. The Valians showed their true face, and it was cruel. Jack ran through the burning streets of Washington, D.C. fighter jets, tried to attack the alien ships, but exploded midair, hit by weapons humans had never seen before. Valian ground troops marched through the city. They were tall, wore heavy armor, and carried guns that fired blue energy instead of bullets. Get to the underground bunker, his commanding officer had told him before the command center was hit. That was 3 hours ago. Jack had been trying to reach the bunker ever since, helping civilians along the way. He ducked into an alley as a Valiant patrol passed. They dragged people from their hiding spots and sorted them into groups. The strong were put in one transport ship, the weak in another. No one was fighting back anymore. Earth's military had been crushed in less than a day. Meanwhile, Lisa woke up on a cold metal table. She was no longer in her lab on Earth. Through a small window, she saw the red surface of Mars. The Valians had built a base there, hidden from Earth's telescopes. "The subject is awake," a Valian said. Lisa recognized him as Call, the scientist who had seemed so friendly before. "Why are you doing this?" Lisa asked, pulling against the restraints that held her to the table. "Resources, labor, genetic material," Call said simply. "Your planet is rich in all three. The Empire needs them." "We would have traded with you," Lisa said. Call made a sound like laughter. "Primitive species always say that, but trade means equals. The Empire has no equals." In the weeks that followed, Lisa learned more about the Valian Empire. They had conquered hundreds of worlds, always following the same pattern. First contact, false friendship, then enslavement. Earth was just their latest victim. They put Lisa to work in their research labs. Her knowledge of human biology made her valuable. Other humans were sent to mining operations on the moon, or loaded onto massive ships bound for distant worlds. The Valians needed workers for their factories, farms, and mines across the galaxy. On Earth, they built huge processing centers. In these buildings, humans were tested and sorted. The strongest became laborers. The smartest became research subjects. Those who resisted became examples of Valian punishment. Jack avoided capture. After the fall of Washington, he made his way into the mountains with a group of military survivors and civilians. They built a hidden camp and watched as the Valians transformed their world. "They're stripping the planet," said Greg, a former Air Force pilot who had joined Jack's group. They stood on a ridge, looking down at what used to be a forest. Now it was a massive pit where Valian machines tore into the earth. "Not just taking resources," Jack said. "Look there." He pointed to long lines of people being loaded into transport ships. "They're taking us too." Back on Mars, Lisa secretly gathered information. She learned that humans were different from other species the Valians had conquered. Most gave up after their militaries fell. Humans didn't. Small fights broke out in the processing centers. Workers sabotaged Valian equipment. Resistance groups formed all over Earth. The humans continued to resist despite statistical impossibility of success. Lisa overheard a Valian commander say, "It defies established conquest models." "Increase processing speed," another replied. "We will break their will by taking their strongest fighters off-world." Lisa knew she had to get this information back to Earth. Humans needed to know they were having an effect, even if it was small. More importantly, she had discovered something about Valian biology, a weakness no one had noticed yet. One night, as the Valian guards changed shifts, Lisa saw her chance. A supply ship was preparing to leave for Earth. If she could get on board, she might make it back home. She might bring hope. Jack and his resistance fighters didn't know it yet, but help was coming. And with it, the first real chance to fight back. 3 years passed. Earth was no longer the blue planet it once was. Large areas were now stripped of life, turned into mining pits and processing centers. The night sky glowed with the lights of Valian ships moving between Earth and their new bases on the Moon and Mars. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, Jack's resistance group had grown. What started as 20 people was now over 200. They lived in old military bunkers and caves, hidden from Valian scanners by the natural iron in the mountains. "We hit the supply depot yesterday," Greg said during their morning meeting. "Got enough food to last another month." Jack nodded. Any losses? None, but we nearly ran into a patrol on the way back. Their ground forces are getting better at tracking us. Jack spread a map on the table. It was marked with Valian bases and patrol routes. They're learning, adapting to our methods. We need to change tactics. A young woman named Tina, who had been a college student before the invasion, spoke up. I've been studying the samples we took from that Valian who died last month. I found something interesting. Everyone looked at her. Tina had been working with the limited medical equipment they had salvaged. Their immune systems are different from ours, she said. Earth bacteria that don't harm us make them sick. Really sick. Jack leaned forward. You're saying we have a biological weapon? Maybe, Tina said. I need more equipment to be sure. This was the first real advantage they had found. Jack decided it was worth the risk to get Tina what she needed. Meanwhile, Lisa had spent 3 years working in the Valian labs on Mars. She had learned their language, studied their technology, and gained some of their trust, all while secretly planning her escape. The Valians had her working on human genetics. They were fascinated by how diverse humans were compared to other species they had conquered. Your adaptability is remarkable, Call told her one day. Most species develop specific traits for their environments. Humans develop tools instead and change their surroundings. Lisa pretended to be cooperative, but every night she sabotaged small parts of their research. She also gathered information about Valian weaknesses. Their sensitivity to Earth bacteria was just one of many. Her chance to escape finally came when a supply ship needed a human to test new equipment. Lisa volunteered. Once on board, she used what she had learned about Valian technology to override the ship's controls and set course for Earth. As her stolen ship approached Earth, she nearly cried at the sight of her home. Large brown patches covered what had once been green forests and blue oceans. Valian ships swarmed around the planet like flies. She sent out a coded message on old military frequencies, Prometheus returning with fire. Jack was planning a raid when one of his radio operators rushed in. Commander, you need to hear this. He listened to the message 3 times. Prometheus was a code name they had given Lisa when they lost contact with her 3 years ago. Fire meant valuable information. Can we track the signal? Jack asked. The operator nodded. It's coming down about 80 miles from here. Jack gathered his best fighters. We need to reach that landing site before the Valians do. They took their few working vehicles and raced through the night. When they reached the area, they found the small Valian ship crashed in a field. Jack approached carefully, weapon ready. A figure climbed out of the damaged ship. Even in the darkness, Jack recognized her. Lisa. She looked thinner and older, but her eyes still held the same determination. Jack, you're alive. Barely. What's this fire you've brought us? Lisa smiled. Everything we need to hurt them. Their biology, their technology, their communication systems, all have weaknesses. And most importantly, I know why they fear us. Fear us. They're crushing us, Jack said. No, Lisa replied. They're rushing to strip this planet because they're afraid of what humans might become if given time to fight back. And they're right to be afraid. For the first time in 3 years, Jack felt something new. Hope. Lisa's return changed everything for the Resistance. Back at the mountain base, she shared what she had learned during her 3 years on Mars. The Valians connect their minds to a central network, she explained to Jack and the other leaders. It helps them think as one during battle. But it's also a weakness. Disrupt the network, and they become confused, unable to coordinate. Jack studied the diagrams Lisa had drawn. Can we access this network? With the right equipment, yes. I stole this. Lisa pulled a small metal device from her pocket. It's a Valian neural link, their version of a computer. Tina looked at the device with wide eyes. This could help us test my bacteria theory too. What bacteria theory? Lisa asked. Tina explained her discovery about Earth bacteria affecting Valian biology. Lisa nodded excitedly. That matches what I found. Their immune systems never developed to fight Earth microbes. Even common bacteria can make them very sick. For the first time, they had the beginnings of a real plan. Jack named it Project Prometheus, after Lisa's code name. "We need more resources," Jack said, "and we need to connect with other resistance groups." Through hidden radio networks, they contacted resistance cells around the world. They weren't alone. In the mountains of South America, the deserts of North Africa, and the forests of Eastern Europe, humans were fighting back. They also needed a Valiant ship. Their old vehicles couldn't get past Valiant patrols or air defenses. Kevin, a former FBI agent who had joined the resistance a year ago, suggested a plan. "There's a small Valiant outpost 20 miles east. They have 2 scout ships. With what Lisa knows about their security, we might be able to take one." Jack agreed. Kevin assembled a team of 12 fighters for the mission. Meanwhile, Lisa worked with Tina to develop a weapon using Earth bacteria. They needed something that would weaken the Valians without killing them instantly. "We don't want to be seen as using biological warfare," Lisa said. "That would just make them destroy Earth completely. We need something that looks natural, like their bodies simply can't handle Earth's environment." Susan, who had been an engineer before the invasion, studied the neural link Lisa had stolen. She discovered she could connect it to human computers. "Their technology is advanced but not magical," Susan explained to Jack. "They have coding languages, just like we do. Different symbols, but same basic logic." Susan began learning how to hack into Valiant systems. She found she had a natural talent for it. While Valiant minds thought in orderly, predictable patterns, humans excelled at making creative leaps and finding unexpected solutions. "They never consider that someone might try this," Susan said as she broke through another security layer. "Their whole society is built on order and rules. They can't imagine breaking them." 2 weeks later, Kevin's team returned with a Valiant scout ship. They had lost 3 people, but the mission was a success. They now had a way to move undetected through Valiant airspace. Jack gathered everyone together. "Thanks to all of you, we now have what we need to strike back." Lisa's knowledge of their biology, Tina's bacteria weapon, Susan's ability to hack their systems, and now, a ship. He pointed to a map of North America. "Our first target will be the Chicago Processing Center. It's one of their largest, processing thousands of humans each day for shipment off-world. If we can free those people and capture the Valiant commander there, it will show the world that these aliens can be beaten." Lisa spoke up. "There's something else you should know. From what I learned on Mars, the Valians have never faced a species that continued to resist after conquest. They don't know how to handle it. Their military doctrine has no plan for this." Jack smiled grimly. "Then we'll show them something new. We'll show them hell." The resistance began preparing for their first major attack. Project Prometheus was moving from plan to action. The Chicago Processing Center was a huge building that had once been a sports stadium. Now it held thousands of captured humans waiting to be sent off Earth. Valiant guards with energy weapons patrolled the walls. Flying drones watched for trouble. Jack, Lisa, and the resistance team approached in their stolen Valiant ship. Susan had reprogrammed its identification codes. To other Valiant ships, they looked like a normal transport. "Ground control is asking for our landing code," Susan said from the pilot's seat. Lisa spoke into the communication system using the Valiant language she had learned. The controller responded and gave them permission to land. "They think we're bringing medical supplies," Lisa told the others. "We have 30 minutes before they realize something is wrong." The ship landed on a pad near the main building. Kevin and his team prepared the bacteria weapon. They had put it into small canisters that would release a fine mist when activated. "Remember," Tina said, "this won't kill them. It will just make them weak and confused for about an hour. We need to work fast." Jack nodded. "Team 1 will release the bacteria and free the prisoners. Team 2 will capture the command center and download their data. Everyone meet back at the ship in 25 minutes. 20 resistance fighters moved quickly from the ship, dressed in stolen Valian worker uniforms. The real attack had begun. Kevin's team placed the bacteria canisters near air vents around the processing center. When they activated them, a fine mist spread through the building's air system. Inside the command center, Valian officers started coughing and moving slowly. Their blue skin turned a sickly gray color. The bacteria was working faster than expected. "What is happening?" the Valian commander asked, struggling to stand. His name was Archon Zavix, and he had overseen the processing of over 1 million humans. Jack and Lisa burst into the room with their team. "This is happening," Jack said, pointing his weapon at Zavix. "Humans are fighting back." While the resistance captured the command center, other teams opened the holding areas where humans were kept. At first, the prisoners were scared and confused. But when they realized these were human rescuers, they joined the fight. Thousands of prisoners grabbed anything they could use as weapons and turned on their weakened guards. Susan downloaded all the data from the Valian computers. "I've got it all. Their patrol schedules, ship movements, communication codes." "Good," Jack said. "Lisa, tell the prisoners who can fight to come with us. The rest should head to these coordinates." He showed her a map of resistance safe houses. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Valian ships approaching," Susan warned. "They must have called for help." "Get to the ship," Jack ordered. "And bring Zavix. He's our prize." As they ran back to their stolen ship, 3 Valian attack vessels appeared overhead. They fired energy beams that burned into the ground around them. "We'll never make it," Kevin said. But Susan smiled. "Yes, we will." She pulled out a small device and pressed a button. The attacking Valian ships suddenly turned and fired on each other. One exploded in a ball of fire. "What did you do?" Jack asked as they reached their ship. "I hacked into their targeting systems using the neural link," Susan explained. "They're shooting at each other now, not us." They took off with Archon Zavix and over 200 freed prisoners. Below them, the Chicago processing center burned. Thousands of escaped humans scattered into the city, many joining resistance safe houses. It was the first major human victory against the Valian Empire. As their ship flew back to the mountain base, Lisa turned to Jack. "This is just the beginning," she said. "When word of this spreads, resistance groups all over Earth will be inspired to fight harder." Jack looked at their captive, Archon Zavix, who sat in defeated silence. "And we now have someone who knows all the Empire's secrets." The Empire had never lost a processing center before. They had never had a high commander captured. They had never faced a species that could turn their own technology against them. Humanity was showing them something new. Something frightening. News of the Chicago victory spread across Earth through hidden radio networks. Resistance groups in other regions began planning their own attacks. For the first time in 3 years, humans dared to hope. The Valian Empire responded with brutal force. 3 days after the Chicago attack, they destroyed a small city in Ohio with orbital weapons. The message was clear: resist and be destroyed. "They're trying to scare us into giving up," Jack told his people when they heard the news. No one in the resistance base spoke. The loss of so many innocent lives weighed heavily on them. Lisa stepped forward. "This is what they always do. I saw it in their records on Mars. When a species fights back, they'd punish randomly to create fear." "Does it work?" someone asked. "Always has before," Lisa said. "But they've never faced humans." While the resistance mourned, they also prepared. Susan continued to study Valian technology, making discoveries that even Lisa hadn't known about. "Their ships use a connected guidance system," Susan explained. "If we can hack the main network, we could control all their ships at once." Meanwhile, Tina worked on stronger versions of the bacteria weapon. The first version had worked well, but the Valians were already developing countermeasures. Jack spent hours questioning their prisoner, Archon Zavix. At first, the Valian commander refused to speak, but as days passed, he became curious about the humans who had defeated him. "Why do you continue fighting?" Zavix asked Jack during one session. You cannot win against the Empire. We control 300 worlds. Because we're human, Jack said simply. We don't give up. Zavix made a sound that might have been laughter. The Empire has conquered species with twice your technology and 10 times your numbers. All eventually accepted their place. And that's why you'll lose, Jack replied. You expect us to act like those other species. We won't. From Zavix, they learned valuable information. The Empire had not sent reinforcements from other star systems yet. The Valiant forces on Earth thought they could handle the human resistance alone. More importantly, they learned the Empire's real plan for Earth. They weren't just taking resources and slaves. Once they had what they wanted, they planned to poison Earth's atmosphere to prevent humans from ever rebuilding. They fear you more than you know, Zavix admitted after weeks of questioning. Human adaptability and aggression combined is something the Empire has never encountered. This information gave the Resistance a deadline. They had less than a year before the Valiants would begin their final phase. Meanwhile, the Empire increased attacks on suspected resistance areas. They destroyed farms and small towns, hoping to cut off food supplies. Their ships bombed forests and mountains where they thought humans might be hiding. But the attacks only brought more people to the resistance. Farmers whose lands were burned, families who lost homes, and escaped prisoners all found their way to resistance cells. Kevin returned from a scouting mission with news. The Valians are pulling forces from around the world to protect their main command ship. They're scared. The main command ship hung in orbit above what used to be New York City. From there, the Valian governor controlled all operations on Earth. If we could take out that ship, we could throw their whole system into chaos, Jack said. I think I know how we can reach it, Susan said. Everyone turned to look at her. Using what we learned from the Chicago attack and the data I've gathered since, I believe we can hack their transport system. We could send a team directly to the command ship. It was their most dangerous plan yet. If it failed, they would lose their best fighters. If it succeeded, they could cripple the Valian control system. Lisa studied the plan. We need to coordinate with other resistance groups. If we're attacking the command ship, they need to hit ground targets at the same time. Jack nodded. Send the word. In 1 month, we launch Operation Earth-3. The Resistance began preparing for their biggest attack yet. The future of humanity depended on its success. The day of Operation Earth-3 arrived. Resistance groups worldwide prepared to strike at the same time. Their goal was to hit every major Valian base on Earth, while Jack's team attacked the command ship in orbit. At the mountain base, Jack addressed his strike team. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone the Valians have taken from Earth, for every city they've destroyed, for our future. Lisa had prepared a stronger bacteria weapon that could affect Valians even through their protective suits. Susan had created a computer virus that could spread through the Valian network, disrupting their communications. Kevin led the first team that would transport to the command ship. Once we're aboard, we have 30 minutes to capture the bridge and upload Susan's virus. If we succeed, we'll control their entire fleet. Using Susan's hack of the Valian transport system, Kevin's team of 20 fighters disappeared in a flash of blue light. They would be the first humans to directly attack a Valian orbital command ship. At the same moment, resistance groups across the planet began their attacks. In Europe, fighters destroyed processing centers. In Asia, they sabotaged mining operations. In Africa, they'd freed labor camps. And in South America, they captured weapons depots. On the command ship, Kevin's team materialized in a storage area. Alarms blared immediately. They detected us, a fighter named Carl said. Expected that, Kevin replied. Move fast. Stick to the plan. They fought their way through the ship's corridors. Valian guards fired energy weapons, but the humans had studied Valian tactics. They knew when to move and where to hide. As they approached the bridge, Lisa released the bacteria weapon. Valian crew members began coughing and stumbling. Some fell to their knees, unable to fight. On Earth, Jack led the second wave of the attack. With Kevin's team causing chaos on the command ship, Jack took a stolen Valiant shuttle directly to the main ground base near what used to be New York City. Their target was the regional governor himself. The battle was fierce. Many humans fell to Valiant weapons, but more kept coming. For every resistance fighter who fell, 10 escaped prisoners joined the fight. Humans used everything from advanced Valiant weapons to simple tools and farming equipment. On the command ship, Kevin's team reached the bridge. The Valiant commander, weakened by the bacteria, still tried to fight. He killed 2 humans before Carl shot him. "Susan, now," Kevin shouted into his radio. Back at the mountain base, Susan activated her virus. It shot through the Valiant communication network at the speed of light. Across Earth and in orbit, Valiant systems began to fail. Ships lost power. Weapons stopped working. Communication screens went dark. At the New York base, Jack's team broke through the final defenses. The regional governor, a high-ranking Valiant named Zoltar, tried to escape in a private shuttle. Lisa, who had joined Jack's team, disabled the shuttle's engines with a device she had created. "Surrender," Jack told Zoltar as they cornered him. "Your ships are under our control now." Zoltar looked at the humans surrounding him with disbelief. "Impossible. No species has ever." "We're not like other species," Jack said. The battle lasted 3 more hours. When it ended, human resistance fighters controlled the command ship, the main Earth base, and had captured or killed most high-ranking Valiant officers. Susan's virus had spread to every Valiant system on and around Earth. The cost was high. Thousands of humans died in the fighting. Kevin was killed on the command ship's bridge just as they achieved victory. Half of Jack's team fell taking the New York base. But for the first time in the Empire's 3,000-year history, a conquered world had freed itself. Humans had done what no other species had ever accomplished. As night fell, Jack and Lisa stood on the roof of the captured base, looking at the stars. "The Empire will send reinforcements," Lisa said. "They can't allow a planet to break free. It would threaten their control of all other worlds." "How long do we have?" Jack asked. 6 months, maybe less. They'll send everything they have." Jack nodded. "Then we have 6 months to prepare, to build our own fleet using their technology, to arm every human who can fight." "Can we win against their full armada?" Jack smiled grimly. "We just showed them what humans can do. Next, we'll show them what humans can become." 6 months passed quickly. Humans worked day and night preparing for the Empire's return. They used captured Valiant technology and combined it with human creativity to build something the galaxy had never seen before, an Earth Defense Force. Jack, now an admiral, stood on the bridge of Earth's first warship. They had named it Defiance. It was built from parts of the captured Valiant command ship, but redesigned by human engineers. Around it floated 30 smaller ships, each commanded by resistance leaders from around the world. "The long-range sensors are picking up something," Susan said. She had become the technology leader for the new Earth fleet. Many ships, approaching from the direction of Valiant space. Lisa joined them on the bridge. After Kevin's death, she had taken a more active role in military planning. "How many?" she asked. Susan's face grew pale. "Over 200, much bigger than anything we faced." Jack had expected this. The Empire is sending everything they have. They can't allow Earth to remain free. Word spread throughout the fleet. This was the moment they had prepared for. If they lost this battle, Earth would be destroyed completely. The Empire would make sure no other conquered world ever tried to follow Earth's example. "All ships, prepare for battle," Jack ordered. "Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for." Instead of waiting for the Valiant armada to reach Earth, Jack ordered the fleet to meet them at the edge of the solar system, near Neptune. "We fight there, not near our home," he said. The human fleet moved into position. They were outnumbered, but they had advantages the Valians couldn't understand. Every human ship had modifications the Empire had never seen. Weapon systems that followed unpredictable patterns, shields that adapted to enemy attacks, and most importantly, crews that thought creatively, not bound by rigid military doctrine. The Valian Armada appeared, led by a massive flagship 10 times the size of the Defiance. On its bridge stood Grand Marshal Xelthos, one of the Empire's most decorated commanders. "Attention human vessels," Xelthos broadcast. "Your rebellion ends today. Surrender and your deaths will be quick." Jack responded simply, "Come and find out what humans do to slavers." The battle began. Valian ships fired in perfect formation, expecting the smaller human fleet to break apart. Instead, Earth ships moved in patterns that seemed chaotic, but were actually carefully planned. They targeted weak points in Valian ship designs that only humans had noticed. Lisa had developed an improved bacteria weapon that spread through the vacuum of space, carried by specially designed missiles. When they struck Valian ships, the crews became too sick to fight effectively. Susan's computer viruses jumped from ship to ship through the Valian communication network. Enemy weapons turned on their own vessels. Navigation systems failed, causing ships to collide. The battle raged for hours. Many human ships were destroyed. The Defiance took heavy damage. But the Valian losses were much worse. Their perfect formations broke down. Their coordinated attacks fell apart. Grand Marshal Xelthos watched in disbelief as his armada was defeated by a species that should have been easily crushed. "This is impossible," he said as the Defiance approached his damaged flagship. The battle ended when Jack's forces captured the Valian flagship. Grand Marshal Xelthos surrendered rather than face complete destruction. "How?" he asked Jack when they met face to face. "How did your primitive species defeat the greatest empire in the galaxy?" "Because you enslaved us instead of befriending us," Jack answered. "You never understood what humans are capable of when fighting for freedom." In the months that followed, Earth ships traveled to other worlds the Empire had conquered. They offered alliance and freedom instead of slavery. Many joined them. The Empire, for the first time in its history, was forced to negotiate rather than command. Lisa led a diplomatic mission to the Valian homeworld itself. "We don't want to destroy you," she told their leaders. "We want to build something better. A galaxy where species help each other instead of conquering each other." Some Valians listened, others resisted, but the age of the Empire was ending. Earth ships spread throughout the stars, and a new phrase was whispered on hundreds of worlds. "Earth is coming." To the oppressed, it meant hope. To oppressors, it meant fear. Humanity had not only freed itself, it had changed the galaxy forever.